Are you ready? They think you can tell us what to do. Out to the masters. Break it down!
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Everyday Geek proudly brings to you a no-holds-barred podcast. And if you're down with that, then we've got two words for you. Everyday Rants!
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dave with the Everyday Rants podcast. This is podcast number 16, and that was my new intro for the podcast. I worked that up earlier today. Just had some ideas and figured I would give it a shot and see, how it would sound, and I actually liked it. Hopefully you guys like it. So that'll be the new intro for the Everyday Rants podcast. And today, I apologize in advance. This podcast might be a little long, and that's just because I want to get into a few different topics today. One, I'm all caught up on WWE Monday Night Raw, so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about The Walking Dead, which has been awesome so far, and I wanted to get into my Major League Baseball predictions, breakdowns, and everything. I want to go division by division, leading up to the start of the season, which is in the beginning of April. So I might go once a week, might go into each division, break it down, and go into my picks and everything like that. So first off, we're going to start with my overall reaction to Monday Night Raw, WWE's Monday Night Raw, after the dismal, pathetic, boring, and predictable Fastlane pay-per-view that was the night before. We get Monday Night Raw. Now, I don't even know where to start. Monday Night Raw seemed to be very convoluted and all over the place. It doesn't seem like they really knew a lot of directions where they wanted to go. They tried to set some stuff up, but some things just don't make sense. And I wonder, with 6 weeks left to go before WrestleMania, I mean, that's a lot of time. That's a month and a half for them to tweak things, add things, and just change some stuff around. Now, obviously, because we all know that Roman Reigns went over and won in the main event at Fastlane, he's supposed to be fighting Triple H for the title at WrestleMania. And I just gave that a big thumbs down because, one, Triple H is a 40-year-old man who barely wrestles. The last time he actually wrestled before the Rumble was at WrestleMania last year when he fought Sting, in a match that he should have really put Sting over, but he didn't because he's Triple H. So we get Triple H comes at 40 years old, wins the Royal Rumble. I mean, it should have been, the way they set it up, they should have had Ambrose win. I think the place would have popped. It would have been huge, but no, they went with Triple H. Shocker. Now they're setting up the 40-year-old supposed to be heel champion who gets bigger pops than most of the guys on the roster, which is sad, against the baby face Roman Reigns, who is anything but a baby face. He is booed, he is shoved down our throats, everybody's tired of him, and it's so evident when every time he comes out, the boos are so much louder than the cheers. He is obviously not a fan favorite of the WWE Universe, but Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H are going to continue to throw him and push him down our throats. And I guess as fans, because there's nowhere else to go, we just have to suck it up and take our medicine. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. I'm not going to go over the whole show. I'm just going to go over certain parts of it. First off, let's get with the beginning. So they start off, Vince comes out to award someone with the Vincent J. McMahon, his father, lifetime, achievement award, some crap like that. And of course, he calls out Stephanie. Stephanie comes out, all happy. The crowd is just booing her like crazy, which is good. It's good. She deserves the heat. She's good with the heat. But then, all of a sudden, Shane McMahon's music hits. Here comes the money! And then the place pops. And the place popped huge for about a good 10 minutes, it felt like. Chanting Shane O'Mac and just going crazy. With the holy shit chants, like this is awesome chants, before he even said one word. But Shane O'Mac comes out looking much older than I last saw him. But he comes out Still look good, though. Don't get me wrong. Comes out, he confronts Stephanie and Vince, and basically, long story short, he says that giving her the award broke the camel's back, or whatever was what broke the camel's back, and that years ago, him and Vince had an agreement. He helped Vince with something, and I don't know. Apparently, he wants control of Raw. Why wouldn't you just want control of the whole WWE is beyond me. Why would you just want Raw? I mean, are we going to start dividing shows again? Please no. Because that was at the point when I gave up on the WWE back in the early 2000s when they did that whole brand split and they had the invasion crap. I was just like, peace, I'm out. So Shane comes out, him and Vince get in a confrontation, and they basically, it comes down to, now here's another confusing part, and maybe someone could explain it to me. Shane comes out and says that Vince owes him something because he helped him with something. I don't remember if they really got into what it was. But Vince then says, fine, what do you want? And Shane says, I want control of Monday Night Raw. But then Vince says, fine, if you win this match at WrestleMania. Now, one, if someone owes you something, why do they have to do something you want them to do to get what you owe them? You owe it to them. Just give it to them. He should just say, fine, Raw is yours. But no, they set up, okay, so Shane's going to fight at WrestleMania. So you're thinking, okay, who's he going to fight? Is he going to fight his dad? Is he going to fight Stephanie, which would be amusing, brother versus sister? He's going to fight The Undertaker. What? The Undertaker? Oh, wait. It gets better. In a Hell in a Cell match. Wow. Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, you think of that and you go, okay, Shane O'Mac, Shane back in the day when he wrestled, he wasn't a great wrestler, he wasn't a wrestler, but he was an entertainer. He put his body on that line for a dude that is inherited in the WWE and is probably worth millions and millions of dollars. That kid went out there and he busted his ass when he did wrestle. So if him and The Undertaker actually did wrestle at WrestleMania, granted they are both much older now, but they probably could put on a very entertaining match, especially in a Hell in a Cell. I could see Shane taking some sick bumps, which would make you hold your breath because he is older, and plus he's a billionaire or millionaire, whatever, probably millionaire. His father's the billionaire. Why take the risk? But okay, but I'm still sitting here scratching my head like, why does The Undertaker want to do that? Like, what does The Undertaker get out of that? And really, I mean, are they going to make changes of that? Maybe. Do I think Shane versus Undertaker is going to happen? Personally, I do think they're going to stick with it. But they might make altercations to it. They might make some changes. Who knows? But Shane agrees. He goes, okay, fine, I'll take it. Now, here's my thing if they did actually wrestle at WrestleMania. Why bring Shane back if it's only going to be for a 6-month span to have him lose The Undertaker and never be seen again for years? I would think you're bringing him back because maybe you guys do realize that the ratings are horrible, the storylines are boring and predictable, NXT is way more entertaining than the WWE, but you have the talent in the WWE to make it very entertaining. Granted, there are a lot of injuries for certain, Cesaro and Nikki Bella, and who else you got? Sheamus is injured, Wade Barrett, there are injuries, but they do have a lot of talent still on the WWE roster to make that a very competitive, fun show. So, are they bringing him back to Raw to mix it up, to shake it up, to change things? Then, in that case, I would think he has to go over on The Undertaker. But The Undertaker's only lost once at WrestleMania, and that was to the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Are they going to actually have The Undertaker lose to Shane McMahon at WrestleMania? Shane McMahon? Because to me, if Shane McMahon beats Undertaker, then why didn't Bray Wyatt beat him? Why didn't CM Punk beat him? Why didn't Shawn Michaels beat him both times? These were actual really good wrestlers. I don't know. It was very confusing. We'll see what they're going to do. I don't know. It was cool to see Shane O'Mac back. It was a nice little refreshing breath of fresh air. That's what I'm trying to say. It was a breath of fresh air. It was very refreshing to see his face back. I haven't seen him in ages. I know, because I haven't been... I just got back into it the last year and a half, 2 years. So I haven't seen him in ever. And it was really good to see him back. Always liked him. And I'm curious to see what he does with this whole storyline. So they set that up. Another match they set up is, and there were rumors for months going on about who Brock Lesnar's opponent was going to be at WrestleMania. There were rumors it was going to be Braun Strowman. There were rumors it was going to be Bray Wyatt. They didn't even acknowledge the whole Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family feud with Brock Lesnar. That just seems to have disappeared after WrestleMania. So they all teamed up on the Brock Lesnar, eliminated him from the Raw Rumble. He didn't win his WWE Championship back, and he's just fine with that. They all just went their own ways. Brock went to go feud with Dean and Roman, and the Wyatts went to go feud with Gilbert, and Slow and Slower. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. They dropped that whole storyline. I hate when they do that. Just at least try to get it written off somehow. But so Brock Lesnar is going to be fighting. They set up Dean Ambrose. Again, here's another confusing thing I don't understand. I know they want to build Dean Ambrose up as like this never quit little guy that just keeps fighting. And he's not little. I mean, he's a pretty tall dude in shape. But, compared to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, he looks smaller. So I know they want to build him up as like this never die, keep going, never quit kind of guy. But here's the problem. You're putting him up against the beast, Brock Lesnar. No matter who you put up against Brock Lesnar, they're going to be booed because everybody loves Brock. He is he's just an enigma that when you hear that music start, just that opening riff of that music, the place pops because it's Brock Lesnar. You never see him too much. He's huge. He's great. For a big dude, he's a great wrestler. He's got Suplex City. He's got Paul Heyman. So are they trying to make Dean Ambrose a face, or is he going heel in this program with Lesnar? Because I don't know if they're going to have Lesnar. I don't think Lesnar's going to be able to go heel, because I don't think the audience is going to boo him. I think they're setting up for Dean to be booed. And I don't know why, because they had a great thing going with a Roman Reigns-Dean Ambrose feud with Reigns turning heel. And I don't know why they just don't turn Reigns heel, because he's already there. He's right there at the tipping point to go heel. And it would make more sense because everybody's booing him already. Why not have him as the super heel of the WWE with the authority? That would have been awesome. Like Triple H's bodyguard now. He doesn't want the title. He's going to protect the title. Kind of how they set up with Diesel and Shawn Michaels back in the mid-90s. And then Diesel went on and got his championship. Roman could do that. It's just sad to think that one day Roman could be a 3-time WWE champion already. For somebody that's got limited, this is where it makes me pissed off that I didn't continue wrestling, because who knows? I mean, I had a little bit of talent. I wasn't great, but people told me I was good. Maybe if I kept it going, maybe I could have made it into something, molded it into something better. But it's just irritating that he could be a 3-time champion. But anyway, I'm digressing off the Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose storyline. Again, it seems forced. I don't understand what they're going to do. I personally cannot see people booing Brock Lesnar if they're trying to get him to go heel. I don't see that happening. Absolutely 100% not. I won't boo Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. I love Suplex City. I love his look. I love the tattoos. Paul Heyman. Just when Paul Heyman opens his mouth and you know what's coming. My name is Paul Heyman. It's awesome. And I guess they want Dean to go heel, because if Dean starts coming in and attacking Brock and interrupting matches or just getting the upper hand on Brock, the audience is going to boo Dean Ambrose. They're going to cheer for a while, but they're eventually going to start booing because they're going to want to see Brock Lesnar just kick his ass. That's what's going to happen. I know they're trying to recreate, it seems like they're trying to recreate Daniel Bryan in Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose is no Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was a great wrestler, a great entertainer. He had charisma. Dean Ambrose, yes, has charisma, is an okay wrestler. But if you watch a Dean Ambrose match, and I've always said I'm not the biggest Ambrose fan, but if you watch a Dean Ambrose match, it is the same. 5 moves he does in almost every match. He does the elbow drop with a standing opponent. He does that stupid I can't stand move where he bounces off the middle rope and then comes back with a clothesline. He has his finishing move, Dirty Deeds, whatever. What else? He's got a couple other ones. I don't know why. Oh, the dive through the ropes. These are givens. Now, I know other wrestlers do that too, but they mix it in. I mean, if you watch Kevin Owens, yeah, he hits some of the same moves, but they're set up perfectly. He sporadically brings other stuff into it. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but we'll see. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, a street fight, which makes it even worse. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Then we got, let's get into the main event. They had Sheamus come out and wrestle Roman Reigns. Yeah. I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what the turn of the match was. Who cares? But basically, Triple H comes out with his jeans and his shirt and his leather coat, old school Triple H, looks good for a dude at 40 years old, but, to be the world champion, you should wrestle a little bit more than maybe once or twice in a full year, a calendar year. But anyway, so he comes out and he totally destroys Roman Reigns. Destroys him enough where they had to use fake blood to make it look like, Reigns' face exploded on the table, which it didn't. That's all storyline. That was a prop. It was a rumored blood capsule that was not real blood. But they have Triple H destroy him, and the crowd is popping huge for Triple H. Now, who's the heel? I thought Triple H was the heel, and they were trying to build Roman Reigns as the babyface. They were chanting one more time when Triple H supposedly split Roman Reigns' nose wide open. And there was blood everywhere. The audience started cheering one more time. That's what they're supposed to be saying to your babyface? Now, this reminds me of what they did back in the late 90s with Steve Austin. Always being double teamed, triple teamed. Austin was always the underdog. But they never made Austin a pussy. Roman Reigns, they've made just this scared, little, always looking to rest on the outside. They haven't booked him properly. And the audience, you're seeing that in the audience. The audience feels that and knows that he is not what they want. I want to use terms in what's going on in the politics here in the United States. I want to say, they want Roman Reigns to be the establishment guy. The guy for the establishment. What the establishment, aka the WWE, wants. But the audience is rejecting it, just like what's going on here in our country. The people of the country are rejecting the establishment guys, and they want that outsider. Because we don't want to be force-fed what we want. It doesn't work. I cannot wait until Seth Rollins comes back. He's going to come back to the biggest babyface pop, and he will be babyface, and they should have him go against a heel Reigns, because they could have some good matches, because Rollins will carry him. But I cannot wait, because everybody's starting to see that Seth Rollins was a great champion, a great wrestler. He had great matches, great mic skills, everything that Roman Reigns is not. And I'm tired of us being forced them. It's not going to change. None of us can do anything to change it. It's never going to happen. No matter how many hashtag cancel WWE Network or hashtag, whatever the other hashtags are going out. It's never going to stop. Vince, Triple H, and Steph run the business. They're going to just do what they want, and we just have to suck it up and deal with it. And just hope that smarter heads prevail eventually and realize that they're going down a very bumpy, nasty road. So I'm trying to think what else happened on Raw that was kind of, they set up the Charlotte, came out and addressed Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. You knew that was happening. They're probably going to set up some type of a three-way match with them. Maybe I would like to see a three-way ladder match or something with them, or some type of a gimmick match to give them more exposure and give them a little bit more tools to work with. I think that would be pretty cool. What else did they do on Raw? I'm drawing a blank now. They had Ryback, whatever. And that's another thing. They want to keep pushing Ryback. Meanwhile, the crowd started to chant Goldberg in the beginning of the match because he looks like a cheap imitation of Goldberg, which I've said in the past. But then those chants from Goldberg switched very quickly to Gilberg. Now, if none of you guys, if some of you guys are watching this or listening on the podcast and you don't know who Gilberg is, go look him up. Gilberg was the cheap imitation back in the late 90s that the WWF created to counterpart Goldberg over in WCW. So Goldberg in WCW was the big, muscular, undefeated, bald dude with the goatee. Sound familiar? Steve Austin, But WWF created Gilbert, which was Dwayne Gill, who was like a jobber to the stars, and they created him and made him a goofy character of Gilbert, where they, Goldberg, where they had him go out, they would come to his locker room, knock on his door, and he'd come out and there'd be sparklers instead of fireworks going, and he always got beat. But when the audience starts chanting Goldberg, okay, he's a cheap imitation of Goldberg, but at least Goldberg was a world champion, had charisma, and was successful and huge all over the place. But then when they drastically switched to Gilberg, they started chanting Gilberg because maybe the audience started to realize, you know what? He's not as charismatic as Goldberg was. He's probably got the same or even less of wrestling ability than Goldberg did. But he'll never be world champion because Goldberg had something about him. So then they correlated to realize that he was like the Gilbert. He's a jobber. He's got no skills. No one likes him. I think those Feed Me More chants are piped. I think they're doing old school WCW pipes, because I've been to a couple live shows where Ryback has been there, and all of a sudden you hear these Feed Me More chants. And I gotta be honest, the sections I sit in, and I'm not making this up, I don't see anybody but maybe like 2 or 3 kids, and that includes Lauren, yelling Feed Me More. Now, if you're in if you could see a range of sections around you, and all you see are maybe a total of 10 little kids, boys and girls, chant Feed Me More, it is not going to be that resident in the arena like they make it sound like it's like booming all over the place. So I have a feeling WWE is doing a little shenanigans there and pumping some sounds in there. I also think they're pumping some cheers in there for Roman Reigns, to be honest with you, because it starts off, once that music hits, there's boos galore, and then they start to muddle out and you hear cheers. Those boos aren't turning the cheers just because he's coming out. So yeah, so that was Monday Night Raw. I can't remember really much else that went on. I guess nothing of that much of importance. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was it. So that was my take on Monday Night Raw. And, you know, it is what it is. We'll see. That they got a lot of time to set up and figure stuff out for WrestleMania. I think they will. I don't know if the matches that they currently have will stand and be the final matches that we'll see at WrestleMania, but it is odd that the 3 matches they have set up so far is Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Roman Reigns. If you look at that, it's 6 guys in matches, and 3 of them work. 3 of them barely work. That's Triple H, Undertaker, and Shane. And then you got Brock Lesnar, who is a part-timer. You only have 2 regular scheduled guys on that roster, and for WrestleMania, that seems weird. It should be given to the guys that deserve it and have been wrestling all year long to try to get that spot. But we'll see. They have a lot of time. They'll work it up. That was my Raw take. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they do. But next, I want to get into The Walking Dead. I am caught up on The Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead is one of the best TV shows on television. I absolutely love it. And we're 2 episodes into the second half of season, I think it's season 6, 5 or 6, I don't remember. But it came back with a really awesome showdown between Daryl, Abraham, and I'm drawing a blank. Oh, I forgot her name. Whatever. Against some of Negan's guys. And, spoiler, if you haven't watched any of The Walking Dead yet, don't listen to this part. But Daryl goes and blows up all of Negan's guys, which was awesome. But, of course, that's going to be a debt that's going to be paid later, either this season or early next season. So, once Negan gets introduced into the show, it's going to be a game changer. Because if you read the comics, like I do, Negan is... Like I told my wife, if they keep it pretty accurate to the comic, within the first few minutes he's on air, he will be the most hated man in the Walking Dead universe. Even more so than the governor, who I felt the governor, they kind of tamed him a little bit compared to what he was in the comics. I'm hoping they don't do that with Negan. I know it's going to be hard because in the comics Negan does have a very foul mouth, a lot of cursing, but AMC is technically cable, so they can get away with using some of the bad words. I don't know if they're going to want to go full bore into all the words, but they can get away with once in a while using a bad word because it is technically cable. It's not network television, so they can do that. Some shows have in the past. Breaking Bad did. There was just a show recently that I was watching with my wife, and they used a curse word. My wife was like, "They can say that?" I was like, "Well, it's..." Oh crap! What show was it? It might have been that new OJ series we're watching, the American Crime, whatever, about OJ Simpson. Might have been on that. I can't remember. So many shows, I'm so confused and lost on what's going on. But yeah, The Walking Dead has been great. Again, these are all spoilers, so if you're listening, I'm sorry, but move forward a little bit in the podcast or something. But this past episode, they had the whole. Introduced Jesus, which is funny because I've read the comics and I always just assumed his name was Jesus. I didn't think his name was actually Jesus. So it's funny when he appeared on the screen, I said it's Jesus. My wife goes, who the F is Jesus? I go, oh, no, it's fine, it'll be good. So we're going in, and then he says his name, and he says Jesus, and I'm like, oh. I was like, they did call him Jesus. I was like, oh, I thought it was Jesus the whole time. I don't know, it's spelled the same way. Maybe I was looking for some little, if for Jesus, maybe they have to have one of those little symbols or whatever over like the E or whatever. But yeah, his name is Jesus, so that was good to know. I didn't know it was actually Jesus. But yeah, it was a good episode. It introduced the Jesus character to us. It also showed a little more life to the residents of Alexandria and how they got themselves a little bit back to normalcy after that whole zombie invasion and everything. The ending was shocking. I didn't see them going the Rick Michonne route, because in the comics he does have a relationship with Andrea, who's alive in the comics, at least up to the part I'm up to. I haven't started my new book yet, which I have right here. I read the hardcover books. I'm up to book 12. I haven't read that one yet. I finished the first 11. They're such awesome reads. If you haven't read the comics, I suggest going out there. That the show keeps it very fresh from the comics. They keep some stuff, but they do mix up some stuff, which is, I could appreciate that, because then it would just become boring for the comic book readers. But that was a little shocking. I was shocked that they had the Michonne Rick thing. I guess you shouldn't be shocked because they are very close, but I always assumed they were more like brother and sister, something like that, or like too much in the friend zone. Maybe Rick likes that because she likes her because she can take care of herself, because everybody he seems to be involved with or want to be involved with has died. But it also puts an alarming high alert on Michonne, or they plan on killing her character or something like that. Because again, up to what I'm in the comics, I'm pretty sure she's still alive. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that, where they're going to go with that. But it's a great show. If you haven't watched The Walking Dead, you definitely need to check it out. It's not just about zombies, it's about just the human beings and how these people are in this zombie apocalypse where there are zombies, which again, they never say the word zombie, which is odd. It's always walkers, or they don't really address them as zombies, but they're zombies. And it's funny that in this world that they're in, where the world is surrounded by zombies, trying to eat you, it's the humans that you have to be worried about, because the zombies just want one thing: they just want to eat you. That's it. It's the humans in the show that prove to have the ulterior motives and are sneaky and sly. That's the real moral of this story. Besides the storytelling they tell with all the characters, it's the whole thing about just humanity and that mankind. It's just how you can't trust anybody. Even in a zombie apocalypse where you think people would come together, try to defeat the enemy, they're more divided now than I think the world is in general. But The Walking Dead, great show. I'm all caught up with that, and it's really great. And if you don't read the comics, I highly suggest getting into those comics, because they are really entertaining, and they're very quick reads, because you get so into it, and all of a sudden you can get a book. Like the books I get are I think 10 comics in one or something like that. I could finish that within an hour. All of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I want a new book, but I gotta wait months for it. So yeah, The Walking Dead's been great. Highly recommend. Great show. Next up, I want to talk and go into my baseball breakdowns. Baseball. So if you're a baseball fan, you'll like this. If you're not, I'm sorry. I'll try to make it somewhat quick. So I am a big baseball fan. I am a New York Yankees fan, but I'm not a biased New York Yankee fan. I know when there's other teams and other players that are good. That goes with all my teams. I don't just, toot the horns of my own teams. I'm pretty neutral that way. So I want to break down each division as we're leading up to the beginning of the season, which is in the beginning of April. I want to say April 3rd, but I might be totally off on that date. But I want to start with the National League West. That division, they hold the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, the Colorado Rockies, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the San Diego Padres. That's right. So basically, I'm going to let you know who I think will come in first through fifth, and give you some just ideas of like what I think. Again, who am I? I'm just giving you my opinion. It is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. It's my opinion. If you have any comments or if you want to let me know what you think, feel free. I'd love to have a discussion with you and talk if you disagree or if you agree. Awesome. So let's start. I'm going to start right off the bat. I'm not even going to get in really talking about these teams too much because I don't think they're going to get any higher than 4th and 5th place, and that's the Padres and the Rockies. I think it'll probably be San Diego 4th, Colorado 5th. If they do anything, they'll probably make some trade deadline moves at the trade deadline in July, because the teams do have some talent that they can get some young talent back and maybe restock their farm system. But I don't see these teams doing anything. I don't see these teams being a threat. I don't see these teams even by, I would say, if they're even close to in the race, I mean, I think both of them could be out of it by Memorial Day. That's about 2 months into the season. I think they could be out by then or way before then, especially Colorado. They're going to struggle in the National League, especially in their own division. They have the Dodgers, the Giants, and Arizona have all... Arizona and Giants have gotten better. Dodgers are still good, but, they're teetering because they didn't take a big hit losing Greinke, and we'll get into that. But, I'm going 4th place, the Padres, 5th place, the Colorado Rockies. Will they be that much away from each other? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if it'll be that huge, but either way, I think they're going to finish way behind. I think they both will be definitely out of it by Memorial Day. I am predicting it now. By Memorial Day, they will be out of contention. And they'll probably be looking to be big sellers in July, June and July. So that leads us into the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks. Here are my things. So first off, let's start with who I think is going to come into 3rd place. And again, this is just my opinions. I don't know. I'm a little caught between the 2nd and 3rd place team, but I went with the 3rd team. I went with Arizona. I kind of could have put them in 2nd too, but I don't know. I think Arizona, by what they did, and I have some notes here. So if you see me, if you hear me taking a pause or looking down, because I'm taping this also for the YouTube channel, it's just because I have so much stuff that I had to write down notes so I don't forget. The acquisitions they've made, the Diamondbacks in the offseason, was Zach Greinke, one of the top starting pitchers in the major leagues. That was a great signing by them. That was a huge loss for the Dodgers. I was surprised that they let him walk. Great pickup by the Diamondbacks. Then I think they traded for Shelby Miller. I know they got Shelby Miller. I can't remember if they signed him or traded him, but either way, I think Shelby Miller is going to be a really good start. He's a really good starting pitcher, and I think he'll do really good in Arizona. Now I know their stadium is kind of iffy with home runs and stuff, but I think Shelby Miller, following a Zach Greinke, I think that's a nice combo for a team that, they have Patrick Corbin, I think, is coming back from being injured. So they have a decent rotation, especially with Greinke holding that down. He's a definitely great stop guy that if they get into any type of losing streaks, just throw Greinke out there, and he most likely will stop that losing streak. So they're not going to have a continuous losing streak going on for the year. And then they picked up Gene Seguro, I forgot how to say that guy's name, but he's a shortstop, and I think that was a great pickup too. Along with Paul Goldschmidt, I think they're going to have a really good team. I think they will contend, especially maybe for that second wild card spot. I think they'll be in there all year. I don't see them falling out unless there's some god-awful injury, unless Goldschmidt gets injured again or Greinke, God forbid, goes down with an injury. And again, when I give you my predictions, they're all based on my thoughts that no one gets injured, which never happens in Major League Baseball. But it's just the assumptions that no one's going to get injured. Everyone's going to be 100% healthy. Okay, I think the Diamondbacks can come into 3rd place and maybe contend for that second wild card spot. We'll see. Second, I have coming in, I have the Dodgers. And the reason I have the Dodgers coming in is because, yes, I know they added a couple starting pitchers. I know they added, they added Kazmir, Brett Anderson, and Kenta Maeda. I don't know how to say that name, whatever. That's great that they added them, but they're not Zach Greinke. They are not Zach Greinke, and Zach Greinke had a fantastic, fabulous year last year. He was the best, probably one of the best starting pitchers in the National League, in baseball in general. They lost a huge pitcher, and I know they added Brett Anderson. He's okay. Scott Kazmir is okay. I don't know Kenta Maeda. I don't know that guy. I don't know if he's new or whatever. I've been kind of out of the loop, but I don't know what his deal is. But they're not going to be able to replace Greinke. And they had Kershaw, Greinke. They had a 1-2 punch that was dominant in baseball. That hurts. And losing their manager, Don Mattingly, who didn't deserve to, I think he was fired. He didn't deserve it. Don Mattingly is a good manager. He was on a tough team with high payroll, high expectations, a lot of egos that he had to, tame. But he's over in Miami now. We'll get into him when we get to the National League East. But they lost Don Mattingly. They lost Zach Greinke. They did add Howie Kendrick and Joe Blanton. Okay, that's great. But they still have an overloaded outfield with Carl Crawford, Andre Ethier, Yasiel Puig, and Jock Peterson. It's overloaded. It's been overloaded for years. Even back before they traded Matt Kemp, they've always had too much outfield help. And someone like Andre Ethier deserves more playing time. I still don't understand why they haven't traded any of these guys to try to get some maybe major league ready talent back or get some stockpile, the farm system a little bit. But they got Crawford. No one's going to take that deal. Ethier, I think, is tradable. I think Puig would be tradable, except for I don't know if his attitude and the way he plays translates to a lot of teams. So I don't know what's going on with him. And Jock Peterson, I know he's a young. I think he was a rookie last year. Can't remember. I might have my dates off. But I just think they're overloaded with the outfield help. I don't think their pitching is quite as good as it was last year, and I think they lost a really good manager in Mattingly, and I think they're going to be right there. Could I see them even flip-flopping back and forth with Arizona? Yes, I can, personally. So I'm going to say they're going to come in second. Arizona will be nipping at their heels, maybe even overtake that second spot and knock them to third. But the Dodgers will be in the mix. They do have Kershaw, the best pitcher in the world. And then we're going to go with who I think is going to come in first. And obviously, by process of elimination, it's the San Francisco Giants. They added Shmard. Oh my God, I always mess up his name. Jeff Samardzija and Johnny Cueto, which I know Samardzija didn't have a great year last year on the White Sox. But again, he was coming from the Cubs, National League, coming to an American League team. He's going back to the National League in a very weakened division. I think Samardzija will get back on track. Will he be what he was in the early years with the Cubs? Maybe not. But even if he's a guy that can get them, 12, 13, maybe 14 wins, keeps that ERA in a low 3, maybe even mid 3s, has the strikeouts, just gets them to that 7th inning. I think that's what they'll ask for. I think that'll be great in back of Madison Bumgarner. Then they got Johnny Cueto, who had some rough spots with Kansas City when he got traded to them last year, but turned on in a couple games in the playoffs where he was phenomenal. Yeah, he had some stinkers, but he was phenomenal in some of those spots near the end of the playoffs. He is a great pitcher. He was fantastic with Cincinnati all those years. And I think coming back to the National League, again, in a weakened division with the San Francisco Giants and a team that has been so great with starting pitching, I think they have probably the best starting pitching in that division. And I think that's going to be pretty difficult to beat. And then they just signed Denard Span, who's a great athlete, a good hitter. I think he'll add to that team with the other, the Buster Posies and the Panic and Crawford and all those other guys, Pagan. They have a really, the Giants have a really good culture there. They win. They like to win. This is one of their winning years, I believe, if you go by how they alternate. So I think the Giants are going to run away with the division, to be honest with you. I think when we're looking in around 4th of July, I think they're going to have a nice, comfortable, maybe double-digit lead, or maybe right there, 8-9 game lead over whoever's in second place at that point. It could be Dodgers or Diamondbacks. But I think the Giants are going to run away with the division. And again, this is all barring injuries. I mean, if the Giants lose 3 or 4 guys to injuries and they're out for the whole year, obviously these predictions are going to change. But I'm going to go. I'm going Giants, Dodgers barely meeking out the Diamondbacks, and then you're just going to have Padres, Rockies just floundering in the bottom, giving wins to everybody, and, it is what it is. So those are my Major League predictions for the National League West. Next week, I'm going to hit up the National League Central, and then we'll do the East, and then we'll go into the American League. We'll save the American League East for my last one to do it, because that is my Yankees division, and I'll make everybody wait and clamor for that a little bit more. So that's my Major League Baseball National League West predictions for the 2016 season. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You let me know what you guys think. I love to hear from you. I love to debate. I love talking sports. I like talking everything. I like to talk. As you can tell, as I ramble on these rants. But yeah, so that's my thoughts for the baseball. We went over Raw. I gave you my Walking Dead thoughts so far, and I mean, I gotta tell you, that is a great show. And there's a bunch of other shows I'm trying to catch up with on my DVR. Honestly, I've been so sidetracked with all the political stuff and everything going on TV. This year, I'm really into the politics. I'm not going to get into any political talk here or give you any. I'm not going to let anybody. I don't really want to talk about what I feel and what I vote and stuff like that. I think that's. I feel like that in religion, it's just stupid conversations to have with people, because you're never going to change anybody's mind, nor do I want to influence anybody. You have to go out, you have to do the research. That's all I ask everybody to do. All people that are voting, regardless of your age, if you're 18 and you're a new voter, or you're in your 30s like I am, and you have a family, and you work, and you want to start. There's certain changes and stuff that you want. All I ask is that everybody just go out, do your research. It's so easy. You have the internet. You can hop on. I've gone to every candidate's website, regardless of what party lines they're on, if they're Republican or Democrat. I've read everybody's plans, and I vote for what I'm looking for in a candidate. In certain policies, doesn't have to be all, but I list what's most important to me. Is it taxes? Is it economy? Is it the military? Is it war? Is it terrorism? Is it women's rights? Which I have 2 young girls, so that is a pretty decent one for me. All these things, you have to really do the homework. Don't just blindly go in there and vote, because it doesn't do any justice for the people of our country. You need to go, you got to do the homework, you got to know everybody's stands, because I have a lot of friends and family that, will say stuff about certain people, and, I try to say, well, no, that's not exactly what this person said, this is what they said, and I give them facts from their actual, the candidates' actual websites, or I'll find clips that they've said stuff, because I feel like a lot of people just don't do the homework and the research, and are just so quick to, because they don't like somebody, or they don't like this party, or they don't like that party, just to blurt stuff out there. And I feel like that's an injustice to the people that might not be paying attention, or might not care, or might take someone's word pretty serious. If you have a good friend that's saying stuff and you don't really care about politics, you might be like, whatever, I'll vote for whoever so-and-so is voting for, but they might not have the facts correct, and that's all. I'm just asking everybody, do your fact checking, make sure you know what you're talking about, make sure you know what you want, because it's big. It's a big responsibility to be a voter in the United States of America. We are the people, and we need to fight for what we believe in, regardless what it is. On either side. I never, I'll hear people with their points, and I never judge. I'm always willing to communicate and talk, and I will listen to somebody tell me their stance, and then I'll say, okay, I respect that. Here's my stance on that. And all I'm asking for is a little respect back. If people are going to judge you by your feelings, or what you are looking for, or what you want, then you know what? Fuck off. I mean, I don't know how much more blunt I could be with that, but, I never judge anybody and their thoughts and their beliefs. I'm always respectful, and I'll take it in. Even if I don't agree with it, I don't have to say it. In my head, I'll be like, okay, I don't agree with that, but whatever. But, I mean, everybody has their choice, their decision. But I just ask everybody, and that's why I've been so caught up in the political stuff, all the shows. I watch all the channels, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. I watch this other one America Network or something like that. All over the place, all the debates. I mean, I get headaches sometimes watching them. The Republican, the Democratic debates. I watch all the news stories. The town halls, the rallies, because I want to get a feeling, because I don't want to vote anymore for just one particular party, because that's the party that I was, talked into joining when I was a kid from my parents. I want to vote for whatever party. It has to be the person that I respect, that I believe, that I trust, and has some of the same values and interests that I have for this country. So yeah, I have so much TV to catch up on, to go over. I want to talk Arrow. I want to talk The Flash, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I know Game of Thrones is coming back soon. Daredevil Season 2 is coming to Netflix soon. What's the other one? Fuller House, believe it or not. I cannot wait to see. I know Lauren can't wait to see that either, or my wife, on Netflix. I can't wait to see that. I loved Full House as a kid. There's so many shows on my DVD. I have OJ, the OJ series that they have on, I think it's FX or AMC. FX, I think. So, I got so much stuff. I got to get caught up, because I'm so mired in all this political stuff. But anyway, let me put a wrap on here. I'm rambling and ranting and raving. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Remember, you could download us for free on SoundCloud. Just look up Everyday Rants. And you can find us on our YouTube channel, which is Everyday Geek. The podcasts are on there as well. So you can go over there. You can listen, you comment, you like, you share. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Everyday Geek TV. Again, this has been Dave. This is Everyday Rants. Thank you all for listening. I love you all very much. Adios.